Hello gamers, Snizze here, and I have no idea where I should begin with this video. How do I even address this most recent patch? I love MapleStory. I think that's evident by this channel, and I love playing Thunderbreaker as well, which I think is even more evident by this channel. But this patch has destroyed a lot of that love. Objectively, the class is a lot weaker, and the playstyle has been changed, which is the more critical portion of the patch. It's pretty early in the morning. I just woke up and I'm trying to redo this video, so please excuse any stutters or anything that comes across as miscommunication. I'm going to try and say what's on my mind and try to touch on a few points I have listed out. So to begin with that, I feel it's important that we address what the nerf actually is. I've seen a few comments on Reddit stating that Thunderbreaker is now server-sided, which is not the case whatsoever. For whatever reason, Thunderbreaker's Thunderbolt, what used to be our most central attacking skill, had an exclusive delay for GMS. Maple and KMS were much slower, and we have been aligned with KMS finally, and that has changed our rotations, our average attack speed, our line count. It's changed so much. Just that one little delay change has changed so much, and it hurts a lot. It hurts the class, and it hurts emotionally, actually, even. I have never regretted playing video games, ever. I have sunk countless hours into various games, and holy shit, I actually feel like I wasted my time for once. I cannot state how much I feel like I'm in the 5 stages of grief, but I also cannot state and stress enough how stupid that sounds. But I am just so fed up. It's the 3rd day of this patch. We know it's intended now. We know information's being relayed back to Nexon HQ, but I don't see anything happening from it. But I thought I'd make this video at the very least, because I don't think anyone expected this change, because it wasn't a widely known trait about Thunderbreaker. And that kind of brings me to my next point. There was a Reddit post about hiding your class secrets. And I read that fairly recently, and I even commented on the post that it sounded a lot like fear-mongering. But looking at the situation now, I made a video regarding Thunderbreaker's best combo, especially which is exclusive to GMS, or was exclusive to GMS, and how mathematically Thunderbolt plus Gale is as strong, or not, if not stronger than Thunderbolt, or if not stronger than Gale plus Annihilate. There's no way to prove that anything I've done or anything that has been said in the community was the reason that Nexon decided to change us. There just isn't a way to prove it. But God, does it feel like something I've done may have led to it. Some piece of information that was within our niche community managed to weasel its way, work its way up to Nexon HQ, and that's how they figured out that we have a faster skill. I'm going to do 2 tests in this video, one to just demonstrate what the new combo looks like and how much damage you lose from that, because I did it in the previous video, but I wasn't using the correct link skills. And you're not going to see that video. But I'm also going to do a second test, which is using the old combo to show how much of a damage loss that is. Just if you were to play the game as you were to play how you were playing prior to this patch. So we'll get started on that now. Okay, so we're going to do 2 tests. I have changed my link skills and my gear to more correctly align with how my gear and link skills were prior to the Awake patch. So my pre-Awake BA was very, very close to 4 trill, and that's the number we're going to be using. We're going to be trying to use the new combo that is the KMS combo, and then we're going to use the old combo to compare how much damage was lost. So the first thing we need to do is obviously do a BA. So we're going to buff up. The new combo that KMS uses and Maple C uses during Primal Bolt's when Primal Bolt is active is Gale and Annihilate, compared to our old combo of Thunderbolt and Gale. Typhoon. Gale/Typhoon, whatever you want to call it. Alright. So, Glory of the Guardians, Cygnus, Lightning Cascade, Will Skill, Overdrive, Primal Bolt, Oz, and we start BAing. This is going to be a 40-second BA. We have to move at the 20-second mark to avoid the 100 attack cap limit. Hopefully I don't fuck up because Tidal Crash canceling is new. 30 seconds is when we stop using Primal Bolt and swap to the old combo. Okay, so using similar gear, my Absol's 4-set, and using no AB link and changing my link skills around to match that. And in a 41 second, not a 40 second because it displayed incorrectly to me, we have a 3.6 trill BA. We will do the math real quick. Let me open a calculator. So 3.6 divided by 4. We're doing 90% of our original damage with the new combo. So this is before you factor in the 5th job skill to the new 5th job skill. This is just using the raw Primal Bolt combo. You've lost at least 10% final damage in a 40-second window if that is the way you are going to BA. And it's lose most of that damage through the last 10 seconds. The reason I say that is because when I did the video regarding Thunderbreaker's best combo, I found that using Thunderbolt and Gale versus Gale and Annihilate, the damage was so close, it was within like 1% damage margin, that it really didn't matter. That 10% loss is all from the last 10 seconds of the battle analysis because Thunderbolt and Annihilate is just that much slower. We have to wait a bit for the next round of buffs so we can compare our old combo to what it is now. So I'll be back in just a bit. I feel I should also, while the buffs are ticking down and they're coming back up, I also feel we should talk about some arguments I've heard. The argument I've heard the most is that since it's now aligned with KMS, there shouldn't be that many complaints because we were always destined to be a KMS class, and because of that, now that we're aligned with KMS, it's not that big of a deal. Like, it got fixed. It's a bug fix. What do you care? Like, why is it that big of a deal? And in a lot of ways, I disagree with that. For me, I see it as something very similar to spawn enhancers, something that we grew accustomed to, that when taken away or even nerfed, there's huge outcry for it. It's just that Thunderbreakers are a niche part of the MapleStory community that there's not as much outcry as, say, the Kishin nerf, the original Kishin nerf we got that reduces effectiveness by half because it doesn't affect as many people. It affects just Thunderbreakers. But to me, if you enjoy spawn enhancers and you're also one of the people that are saying you're aligned with KMS, it was a bug fix, I just wonder to myself, how did you feel about the Kishin nerfs? Because that's the exact same thing to me, in my mind. Kishin used to be able to be placed twice to gain an additional Kishin effect, which would reduce the mob cooldown, mob spawn rate by 75% compared to the 50% it was afterwards, and it's now 40%, which is the same as 50%, but that's a different topic. I digress. When that was changed, were you upset? Because going the extra step is KMS doesn't have spawn enhancers. To align us more with KMS would take away our spawn enhancers. If they ever do that, and you were one of the people to say to me, you got bug fixed, you're more aligned with KMS, it should, that's it, that's end of story for it. Like, to me, that's the same thing I say to you, is we got aligned with KMS, we no longer have spawn enhancers. It was inevitable. Our buffs are back up, so we'll get on to the second test, because the second test is a lot more critical. We'll buff up. Pre-stack our Typhoon buff. Pre-stack our Lightning charges again. Open our BA. Glory of the Gardens, Cygnus, Lightning Cascade, Whale Skill, Overdrive, Primal Bolt, Oz, and let's go. So this combo, I can tell you right now, feels much, much slower. And this combo used to produce more lines, even though it did technically less lines than Annihilating Gale within a small margin. Move. 30 seconds is when I need to stop doing this. Or a little less because I have to pop the other buffs in accordance. 3.27. Let's open up the calc. We'll just put that at 3.27 because I feel that's too far away from 3.3, I feel. 3.27 divided by 4. You're doing almost 20% less damage. You're doing 81.75% of your damage compared to what you would have been doing pre-awake. And this is, of course, without the new 5th job. And again, the damage changes aren't the most critical thing. Even though losing over 10% final damage in almost any scenario is rough. Like, really rough, to the point of, like, I don't think Lucid is clearable at all as a solo Thunderbreaker anymore, which we'll also touch on in a bit. That's not the main issue I have with this new patch. The issue I have with it is the fact that it changed my playstyle so much. Thunderbreaker is not a reactionary class. You cannot react to boss attacks and hope to survive in most bosses because it just doesn't work that way. There's too much end lag on, even when we had the exclusive GMS delay on Thunderbolt. It's just rough. But now with the delay changes, it's even rougher. And that is where so many people have issues with this change, and so many Thunderbreakers are quitting. Because to touch back on, like, we're aligned with KMS, we are not completely aligned with KMS. We still have a critical bug that has not been fixed, and has not been fixed for literal years either. Just as long as we've had the faster Thunderbolt, we have had the issue with this. You can cancel Thunderbolt by using Tidal Crash midair. Right now, flash jumping and thunderbolting does not feel great because you have to stop on the ground for a little bit to actually get the jump off, because you can't just really spam it like you used to. It feels clunky is all I'm going to really tell you. So in KMS, to alleviate that, because it's even worse for them since they're not playing at hard cap, what they have done is when you're in midair, you Thunderbolt and then you tap Tidal Crash in midair. You can't tell because I'm using Tidal Crash in midair, but if you use Tidal Crash in midair, it is supposed to cancel the end lag of Thunderbolt without going off. In GMS and Maple Sea, I believe, if you are to use Tidal Crash following Thunderbolt, your controls lock up, and Tidal Crash will go off as soon as you touch the ground. So, I touched it at the peak of my jump, and after hitting Thunderbolt, Tidal Crash goes off. You cannot do anything but change the direction you're facing for the way that Tidal Crash will go off. Meaning, you have no control over your character. After Tidal Crash is hit, the only thing you know is as soon as you hit the ground, Tidal Crash is going to go off. And that could be for better or for worse. But you cannot cancel the end lag of Thunderbolt. Therefore, we are not completely aligned with GMS. To say this was a bug fix and that was to be expected, it's inevitable, and for this bug to not be fixed is infuriating. On top of what else is infuriating, I don't believe Liberation, the Genesis Liberation quest, is doable anymore. I am currently the only Thunderbreaker running Black Mage to my knowledge, and I still haven't cleared. But even if there is another Thunderbreaker in GMS running, in GMS Reboot running Black Mage, they still haven't cleared yet either. And the big issue with that is, as soon as we get to the Hardwell Liberation quest, which is the first Liberation quest I'd say that is extremely difficult, where the difficulty picks up by a whole margin, we'll be at the point where the Neo patch is hit. And the Neo patch is pretty critical, because in part 3 of Will, he has an ability to cast Poison on you. Poison has the unique effect of giving you 100% final damage buff currently, meaning you are twice as strong as you normally are. After Neo, you're only 30% stronger when you have that debuff, quote-unquote, applied to you. Meaning, will require near perfect play to clear if it's clearable at all. Furthermore, if you can get past Will, let me show you what my P3 Lucid looked like before this patch, but after Awake. And that's what we'll be playing in the background right now. I can't even get it down to healing, and I am definitely not the strongest Thunderbreaker, and I know for a fact it was clearable prior to this change. But seeing a 10% final damage nerf is pretty rough, because even if I get a Roar 4, even if I 22-star my Arcanes, I do not believe Lucid is clearable within the 40 seconds that were given to DPS her. Prior to this change, it was just get a Roar 4, work on your burst rotation a little bit more, because I lost like a 2 seconds of burst, 2-3 seconds of burst buffing up. So it was doable. It was definitely doable, and I could see myself clearing Lucid, and especially for the Liberation quest. I could manage it. I just needed to get stronger. That motivation is now gone, because even if I get to that point, I'm probably going to be relying on power creep to actually secure the clear. And again, that is if I can get past Will. There's also an argument to be made for how difficult V-Hill is going to be with advent of Tidal Crash canceling and just our lower damage overall. It's probably doable, but it will suck doing it. I don't have much else to say. I can speak in circles for as long as humanly possible. The class is not dead. I cannot say it is dead, because it's playing how it was always intended to be played in KMS. But for the GMS audience, that really, really sucks. And I'm making this video for the few hundred subscribers I have, because maybe there's one of you that knows what to do and knows how to handle this situation. Because adapting is the only thing I can think of, because that is normally what you are doing when you are playing MapleStory, is you are adapting to the nerfs and buffs that Nexon hands out. The gameplay changes that they go through with. And that's doable. It's doable. I can adapt. But I have never felt with this much emotion the fact that I do not want to adapt. That like I rather quit the game over adapting. Because it just feels so awful to play the game right now as a Thunderbreaker. And I don't think I can warrant just swapping classes. I have the ability to do so. I'm set up, I'm funded, I can do it. But I don't think I want to. And that's where we stand right now. So I hope to see you friends later. I really hope to see you friends later, but that may not be in the books anymore. This has been Snizze, and we'll see what happens.